Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're going to look at CMG, Ulta, Nvidia, Tesla, and Gilead. Let's get right into the charts. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly time frames, and we use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. So Chipotle, news after hours, old Billy Boy buys 9.9% stake, but that I think they have 45 days to do something with that. So he could have bought 45 days ago, which leads us into maybe double bottom here, possibly, I would hope. And if not, then I don't think, maybe somewhere in here we get the pop. He announces, we pop up. But we are into gap fill right around 441.18. Let's see if we can open up above that. But we have more resistance around 461 and then 200 MA at 457.55. So there's good resistance coming up in the chart. We had a nice retrace, pulled it back. I was hoping for some more bearish consolidation than the next fall. But, you know, how can you, I don't know if this news is coming out or not. It comes out, then you have to deal with it. That's why if you're short this, you can't load the house. You got to take the right share position just in case of stuff like this happens. These are news-driven stocks. So let's look at the weekly. The weekly, again, man, this was great last week. We closed below that. We were skimming around the 20 moving averages now, or average. Now we're going to pop above it. We're going to get right into this breakdown area on here. So this is going to be a big area, as well as these two lower trend lines, which come from down in this area. So we pop it above this, and let's see if we can hold. That will be the test. If it can, then I think 472. Well, actually, we'll go into these little pivots right here around 465 or so. Then if this continues to curl down, you're probably looking at, let's take this one out. Let's put a new fib in there. You know what? I'm going to take it from here and see where we're at. Yeah, 482, 463. Yeah, and the 382 is at 445. So you have some pretty good resistance at this 440 area. So let's see how it reacts tomorrow. It is holding right now. We're at 439.20. So let's see if that holds. The monthly chart is still bearish. We pretty much fell from 750, went all the way to 414. We're coming back in. We're trying to hold the 618 down in here. I think we're going to recapture it tomorrow, but let's see if we can stay above it. If it comes right back in, because you know, they're after Billy Boy here. They're smashing him almost on every position. The big institutions or hedge funds that don't like this guy, so they can smell blood in the water here and they can start taking this one down. So if you're long on Chipotle, you need to get back above the 440, 441 area, 445 area and that. And then you want to keep going all the way possibly to the 500, you know, maybe. But if this 20 MA keeps curling down, this is in a weak stance on the monthly. So it's a monthly chart, so we close at the end of the month. But right now, Chipotle was weak. You know, it had bearish patterns all the way across the board. Even this pop up, we're still down, and sideways. We're still chopping around in a bearish manner. So even this little pop, that really doesn't mean a lot to me. If anything, I want to get above the 200 moving average here with confirmation. Then I'll believe it. But you start getting up in here around 460 or so, you have a lot of resistance in this area. So just be careful with this one. Billy Boy's in it. So at this point, anything can happen. Ulta. Let's go right to the daily on that one. So we talked about this. It had a nice fall from the high in earnings. Good earnings, but you know, it was just a high flyer. You look, I'll show you on the monthly. Came down to the 618. You did have some support in this area. I mean, a little more. I would like to have seen it come down into the 750 and then possibly this 239 support, because he had a lot of consolidation, came down, broke through it, and then continued up. But we did break down through the 618. We recaptured it today, but then again, down sideways. We're in a bearish manner still. We talked about this one retracing back into this area. If it does, if you're not short, you can short this thing up here, then just do a stop out, a close above this with confirmation would be your stop out. So it's an easy stop out. It's not a big risk. But if this thing retraces up, take it. If this thing consolidates and retraces up into the moving averages, you could take it as well. You're looking at 260 to 266 as a short. If you're long, I would start taking profits off this area. Let these come in. Again, I'm going to go back to the SPY, the Qs, the IWM. If those start to become weak, everything's going down. I don't care what name it is. It's all coming in. Weekly chart. The other reason we stopped here was the 250 retrace. We went right into it. They popped it up. Now we're starting to come back in. So we're going to look for a retrace, like I said, on the daily. We'll probably come back into the 260, 270 area. If it comes in there, you can short it. Use the all-time high. as a stop out with confirmation on the weekly. And then the monthly though a little bit uglier. We almost had an engulfing reversal candle. Let's see how this, it'll probably chop around up and down depending on the market situation. But again, if the markets start to sell the indexes, this one will be going lower. So protect your longs. If you want to get short, let it go back up into this area here and then short it. If you're long, if it comes back into this area, I'd start possibly taking profits. If you want to get really greedy like a big fat pig and wait for it to get the double top, see if you get confirmation. But you know, looking at the monthly, we were stretched on this chart. It's still curling up and this is coming in. But once it gets too far away from the shore here, the 200 MA, it's got to come back in. It's just the way it works. Let's go to Nvidia. This is another high flyer. This one just keeps going. Still haven't crossed the all-time high, 63.49, but they're going for it. Let's look at the daily. So we had this is nice bullish consolidation. We're staying above the MA, so I have to give it that much. But a lot of times these patterns fail at all-time highs, and if it does, it's going to really come in, and it's really going to come in fast. So if you're bullish on this one, you want to keep above the MAs, and you want to definitely give it above the 63.49 area. We'll just call it 63.50. Then once you get above that, you want some follow-through, and then a close above that area to continue up. But this is nice consolidation, not the best, not the worst, but you know, it is chopping around in a bullish manner above the MA, so this thing should stop popping. If it doesn't pop soon, I mean, you know, whatever, 14 or 20 days of consolidation, you'd expect this thing to pop after 10. You start getting this. If this doesn't go up on this consolidation, it will come down, fill the gap, and then continue to 50 MA, gaps down here, ultimately the 200 moving average. But you know what? We got to play this one day by day, see how it comes in, see how it sets up. But at this point, it is bullish. So weekly chart, same thing, bullish pattern. Got a couple tails up here, a couple little spinner dojis, nothing big. Until we get above the all-time high, even on a weekly close, and then confirmation above that with some conviction volume, then I'll believe this can move a little bit higher. 63, let's see. Yeah, 62.37 was my mark on this one. And it's holding that pretty damn good right now. But see how the moving average is moving up at 34 bucks now? But this is still extended. It needs to come. It needs a nice retrace first, and then I wouldn't mind see it taken off. But again, it's just stretched on this chart. We got to see what it does on the weekly, see if this pattern starts to play out. I'd still like to see 3-4 more weeks of consolidation and then a pop. If this pattern fails, boom, look for it at the low here, around 58.20, and then we'll take it from there. But if you're bullish, you want to see more consolidation and then the pop through. Monthly chart, stretched. It needs to pull back just to be healthy. Stocks, this is unhealthy move. Stocks need to come back in, and then they come back up again. But we'll wait for pattern, see what we're seeing, and we'll take it from there. That's Nvidia. Tesla, our favorite. So Elon comes out and tells everybody that everything's okay, Project X, we're all good, blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't. I don't know what the heck he said. Don't really care, to be honest with you. But we had a nice fall. We covered our shorts. We hit gap fill right here at 198.66. You'd expect to bounce, which we got. We did come above this gap fill right here on a closing basis. So at this point, this stock's not bad. You know what? We'd have to wait for pattern now. We're not doing anything with it. So wait for pattern. Let's see what we can do. But at this point, it's a little bit bullish. We had a nice reversal candle. I would have loved to see it close above that. But hey, we gave it its best shot. Let's see what we can do. So if we retrace back up, you have the 382 right here at 206.34. Then ultimately back to this trend line around 212. If we get back up into these moving averages, you can take a short on here, 220, 221. If we get above this area, get above these pivots here around 232, 233, and ultimately 236, you're going to have to exit. So take a half position here, take the rest in here. If it gets above this or the 240, you stop out, you wait for it to go higher and short it again. I just can't go long in these markets. If these markets break down, you're going to get in trouble. The markets break down, the SPY, the Qs, the Russell, the Dow, the IYT, all that. This market, we're going right back to 187, and that's it. Period. All right, let's go to the GILD, Gilead. Had an okay bounce, still a little bit weak. It needs to recapture the 20, then the 50. But right now, we closed below this pivot here, which is a little bit ugly. And looks like we confirmed. We're trying to recapture it. We're coming back into this our 250 retrace. So until it gets above these moving averages, I'm still a little bit bearish on Gilead. But again, the only way they'll get this up is an upgrade, news, merger, the IBB or the BIB gets something, something in biotech starts to go, and these will all go. That seems to be the pattern right now. But here you had a nice inside bar, 4 weeks of consolidation, started breaking down. I would have liked to see a little more consolidation and this 20 move into it to push it down. I think this was a little premature, but we'll see if it sets up again in a bearish manner. This sun starts to come down, hits price, and sends it lower. That's the weekly. But yeah, looking weak. I mean, this thing just keeps, every time it gets a bid, comes in, gets a bid, comes in, and just keeps going. The market gets weak, it's going lower. Let's go to the monthly. Monthly too. We closed right on top of the 50. So right now we're below the 50. Of course, we still have the whole month of September to get through. But right now, this isn't looking that pretty. We closed below this inside bar. That's telling me we have lower prices ahead. They might actually do a retrace, maybe up into this area. If it comes into here, possibly the 100 even number, I would definitely short this one again. Now let's take a quick look at the IBB. We haven't looked at that one today. So the IBB on the daily, we got a little bit of a bounce. You'd expect it. You're coming into the 200 and the 50 MA, into this support area down in here, double bottom, blah, blah, blah. So it gets a little bit of a bounce with the markets, but we're right back into the 750 retrace. So let's see if this is going to hold or if we're going to take a shot for the 288, 289 area, the 20 MA, and then this breakdown bar. If we continue up into this area again, the 300, I would definitely give this one another shorting opportunity. Don't load the house. If it gets above here and closes and confirms, you just step aside and let it go up to the next level, which would be around, I'd say you're going to have to fill this gap around 320. You have gap window around 316. And ultimately, I mean, you got a big gap area around 340 if this thing really wants to start taking off. But you got to be careful with this. It is still a bearish pattern. We had a pretty good update today, but it doesn't mean anything in stocks. Tomorrow we could be down 400 and the whole thing's tanking. But we are still above the 50 or below the 50 MA on the weekly chart, still weak. And look at this, we go down and we're starting to go sideways now. I'd like to recapture the 50, recapture this 1 or 289 area, and we could possibly move back up into the 300, 298, 299 area. If it still consolidates under the 50 MA and the 50 retrace, we have a great possibility of this thing falling, getting through the 275 number and the 20 MA, and then boom, we're heading down to 263, and then double bottom somewhere in here. Down in here, I possibly would be a buyer. I'd like to see how this thing falls, and I'm talking for a 1-2 day hold where boom, hits it, take it, and get the heck out. Let's go to the weekly. We were in the weekly. Let's go to the monthly. Still love this inside bar bearish pattern. This is ugly. They did close it above the 281.36 on a monthly close, but we got to see what this thing does in the next couple weeks. But again, look at this. Bearish, bearish. Gosh, it should be coming in. But the light volume on the markets, that's the wild card. They could still push these things up, kind of like the FANG today, where out of the blue they just all started ripping, which was crazy. But the one that caught my eye was McDonald's. It was up 3 something in the morning, and then bam, they faded it out and ended up $1.42 up. That's another one that should be leading. That one I'm keeping an eye on. We are short. We covered half the position in McDonald's, but we'll see how it goes from there. Yeah, they're trying though. They're trying to get the weak shorts out, but I love this. This was a great one. I mean, they had a great bullish or bearish pattern. They popped it up, almost came back in here, almost filled the gap. I would have loved that. We did short this today, and of course we covered, and it kept going down. This is a nice tail. Someone came up in there and said, no, 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 no. But we are above that 50 MA, so that's slightly bullish, but we are still below the 50 and the 200, but we are above the 20 MA, excuse me. Weekly, same thing, try to get it above this inside bar, couldn't do it, slapped right back. And then monthly, we're slowly coming in. I'm still thinking of a target around 110, 109. We'll see if we get there, and then I'll cover the rest of it. All right, guys, thanks for watching my videos. God bless. See you on the charts.